All right, well, let's talk about Hard Knocks. That's actually what's coming up next. So it was by far, which, makes sense given what just happened. It was by far the best episode in terms of covering the Ravens, because you got to watch the Ravens match up against their division rival Steelers. So Hard Knocks had access to both sides once again, which we had in week 16 and was fun to watch. This is even better because it's the playoffs. And so kind of starting out early, we pulled 3 clips. The whole episode, you should go check it out if you have HBO Max, all that kind of stuff. If not, the Ravens Wired, I think they usually premiere on Wednesday nights, correct?
Wednesday nights.
The Wired. So there'll be that. It just won't have the Steelers side. So anyway, Chris Berman, legendary broadcaster, used to be at ESPN. Is he still at ESPN?
The Swami. Oh yeah.
Yes. Okay.
He's up there in age. And so he's in like his semi-retirement phase, but he still does his legendary 2-minute breakdowns after the end of every week. I love this guy. Anybody that, man, isn't he a part of do you view him as a part of the fabric of like NFL coverage from as long as you can remember? Because he was that for me growing up, and he's been ever since.
Definitely going back to my childhood when he would do, what was his famous segment? I don't know what he would do.
Swami Says.
Yeah, maybe that. But what I remember as a little kid, because I'm LDS, obviously, he called Todd Heap the Stormin' Mormon.
That's
and
awesome.
So when I was a little kid, I was like, yeah. So, yeah, he did. So I just remember him, yes, and his voice and all of that. So anyway, he visits the Ravens practice heading into this game. This is him and John Harbaugh having a conversation with screen grabs for copyright purposes.
Nice job, O. Nice job, offense. It's throwing good, man.
Yeah.
It's throwing good in the cold. It's throwing good in the wind.
Yeah.
I see why I wanted to be out here.
Guys look good today?
Yeah, good day.
Well,
good day.
Pretty good in the cold. I mean, he doesn't like it, but
he's throwing really good in the cold. I mean, he got the other way of the wind at his back, and I think it was kind of an adjustment because the one carried a little bit. But he's thrown 2 days really well out here in the wind. He has. You know what? I mean, you got to get used to it.
And you're going to play all the rest of the games.
I said, guys, shouldn't we come out here one of these days, one of these practice days, and get the timing and everything? He goes, yeah. Lamar's like, no. He goes, I got to throw in it. They got to catch in it. The wind's going to blow it. It's going to move it. I need, like right here. Yeah. He goes, I need to get used to that. They need to get used to that. That was Lamar, man. There was like nobody wanted to go inside. Not one of the leaders.
I mean, I tell you what, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
This is.
We just got to go win a game. It's as simple as that. You got to go in a game.
Sarah, his voice is undefeated. Can we just rewind to this? A massive gust of wind came up out there in Owings Mills, and look at Boom. Look at Boom.
That? I know.
Look at Boom. It's almost like he gets knocked off his feet for a half second, and Chad Steele, head of PR, and Harbs are like trying to surround him to make sure he's good. It's hysterical.
And get this man a hat, man. It's like freezing out there, and he's out there with like a windbreaker for sure, but. Oh, man. Now, it's like the wind was listening. It knew. They're talking about the wind. They're talking about the cold. John is saying, hey, Lamar was the one that headed this up because John was like, hey, should we go inside for at least one practice just to make sure we have timing down? And Lamar's like, nah, we all got to get used to this. We got to get used to throwing in the wind because it'll throw the ball off, and just right on cue, there's the wind. But what's interesting, Bobby, again, if you watch the whole episode, when he says there's something going on here, I don't recall him being at the Steelers that week in that episode. Full transparency, I was doing laundry while doing it, so I wasn't looking directly at the TV all the time. But when you juxtapose what Berman is saying right there and how loose the Ravens were versus Tomlin having a meeting with his coaches at the beginning of the week, and Tomlin's having this conversation like, he's like, you know what, guys, we always rush to give them information about the next game. He goes, but sometimes we should just try to lift them up and show them plays of what they've done well. And so that's the two differences is the Ravens didn't need to worry. John Harbaugh didn't need to worry about lifting up his team because they were on this 4-game winning streak, including against the Steelers, who they're about to play again. And Tomlin's dealing with the team that was on a 4-game losing streak, including against the Ravens. And so one is like working like, I got to lift their spirits first. and then I can give them the game plan, and Harbaugh could just, ease right, whiff right past that, because there is a feeling going around in Baltimore. We can all feel it. That's palpable. That's just like, we're feeling good, but we're focused and sticking at this one game at a time. And obviously Chris Berman could feel that.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's not lost on you either as they go from team to team. And of course, this was primarily dominated last night by the two teams that remained at the time of the taping in the postseason race, right? Baltimore and Pittsburgh. And now the lone AFC North team is the Ravens, obviously. But when they cut to Cleveland and there's multiple firings, right? And team and their players are being notified of those, whether it's through social media or their position coaches going into their meeting room saying, hey, Ken Dorsey just got fired, guys. Like, make sure you send Dorsey a text. Like, it's talk about palpable, the dichotomy. And then you go over to Cincinnati and Zach Taylor's trying to explain to everybody like where life goes from now when you just won out. You did everything you possibly could, ripping off 5 straight wins, and it still wasn't good enough. So it was a tremendous production. And this is the first time I watched it from, start to finish, thanks to my college buddy who sent me his credentials to get in there to HBO. But so anyway, good stuff.
Well, then we can kind of get into the game. And I think we've said this before. When you hear that Lamar Joker laugh, right, as he's getting hit, it's like, oh, Ravens are winning. Ravens are like 9 times out of 10. He hits that Joker laugh. You're like, Lamar is in his bag. So not only did he hit us with the Joker laugh on this next clip, but he's just being funny the whole way. And Bobby, this has been the Ravens strategy all year. He talked about in the past, he's been antsy, not nervous, not seeing ghosts, not seeing the things that are not there. Let's not go too far. But he said a little bit antsy. And so all year, when you watch Wired or you watch Hard Knocks, they've tried to keep it super chill, super calm, super low key. So Lamar is truly out there playing like he is 8 years old again in the backyard in Florida.
Kick everybody, guys. Hit everybody. Hit the. I don't want to say hit the rough. Not hit the rough. Hey, 2, 3. Hey, my pants were falling right there. That's why I ain't run.
And now
I don't know what that last
Jang,
one is. Hold on. Bring that back up. We got to do the Joker laugh again.
Well, now you know what Jang was referencing earlier when she wanted to start a GoFundMe page for his pants.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Here we go. That is straight Joker.
Why so serious?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, we Louis Riddick relayed a story after talking to Myles Garrett of the Browns when the Ravens and Browns matched up on the last game of the season. And Myles was like, yeah, when this dude's out there laughing and you just gave him like a huge hit and he laughs right back in your face, it's like, who is this guy? Like, what? Like, it's just, it's just like he's not even phased. He's not even phased whatsoever. He's in his bag. And then on that one, first of all, he's like getting away from himself. He's like telling his offensive line, hit everybody, hit the ref. Okay, yeah, no, don't hit the refs, but hit everybody else. And then he's like, I didn't run on that one because my pants were falling down. Like, what do we need to do with Lamar and Derrick Henry's pants? I don't know, because we need these guys running free, not pulling at their pants. I don't know if we need suspenders, as she said, or belts or what, but get these dudes something to hold their pants up.
What else you got for us from last night's Hard Knocks episode?
All right, this last one I loved because I thought it was cool with Mike Tomlin. So Lamar gets hit out of bounds right in front of Mike Tomlin.
4 consecutive runs.
That's it, Lamar! That's it, Lamar! Jordan? Hell yeah.
He does it again?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. You all right, 8? But I'm glad, I don't want any star. I don't want any star in these playoffs to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we live for. We want to see these football games. We want to see the stars. So we don't want to see any of that. And Bobby, I didn't pull this clip, but one thing that I also noted from last night was I loved some of my favorite stuff outside of the game footage is when they go inside of meeting rooms and talk about preparing for the other team. When I tell you, if you haven't seen the show, that they knew what they needed to do on defense. They open up saying, get number 22. Get the big guy. Get the big guy. Get the big guy. Do not let him take over. He's teaching his defensive ends to go get him first instead of Lamar, which is why Lamar was running so fast. They understood the assignment. And that's why you can feel so good as a Ravens fan, because when the Pittsburgh Steelers with TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward Bay, like, you got these dudes who are known for defense and they know what the assignment is. And yet the Ravens put up 1 yard fewer, 299 yards, one shy of 300. And they could have had 300 if they didn't kneel it at the end. That a Steelers defense that is way more stout than what they're about to see against the Bills. They knew. And then how many times during the game, Mike Tomlin's on his headset, keep 8 in the pocket. Keep 8. Do not let 8 do this. And he keep calling it out. Don't let 8 do this. Don't let 8 do that. And then 8 would go out and do it. And that's why it feels so good. And it goes back to what Todd Monken had said to Dan Orlovsky in their pregame interviews, again, before Browns and Ravens. Is Todd Monken told Dan Orlovsky, you know what? I know people know what's coming, but I have Derek and Lamar. So you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. Like, the Steelers kept calling it out and just could not stop this duo.
Abdul just wrote us about how long these Hard Knocks episodes run, and you mentioned that it does continue through the playoffs, correct?
That's what Cincinnati.com said.
Okay. And Rodrigo says Marlon was moving and posted he was selling things through his friend. I didn't meet him. I did see the lovely Inner Harbor view from his high-rise condo. Rodrigo is rocking part of Marlon's former wardrobe and his 44 jersey coming up this weekend. Anything else before we get to a former Pittsburgh Steeler who was in the news yesterday?
No, sir. Let's move on.
All right. So from the Steelers to a former Pittsburgh Steeler, the Houston Texans waived former Raven, former Panther, former Steeler, and now former Texan Diontae Johnson. And as Landry Locker tweeted out, DJ made a scene in the locker room after Houston's wild card win. They were celebrating, the locker room was, a wild card game win. And cigars were literally lit and being smoked. The team was bonding, happy to get a W, obviously. And he goes on to say, I could see why Tomlin was totally over this guy and why Baltimore, one of the best organizations in the entire NFL, bailed. You brought in a follower of his who asked for the details. What kind of scene was it? And Landry was like, it was a pouty one. So, Sarah, here he goes again, looking for his 5th team in the calendar year. I don't know what his future looks like. It's a business, so sometimes folks have a short memory in front offices, especially when you have needs at wide receiver. You also brought in some more from that thread as well.
Well, just it reminded me exactly of what we just went through in Baltimore. So you have that one person who is like in denial of what Diontae Johnson might be doing behind the scenes and blaming the front office and the coaching staff. So this Houston Texans follower is like, well, could he have handled himself better? Yes. But to waive the only wide receiver who can make a difference behind Nico in this run is just stupid. Houston doesn't want to win this year, he accuses them of. When there's a chip on the line, you do whatever work through whatever. Gosh, man, it hurts, but whatever. So then Landry replies back, I can't see it.
Oops.
Sorry. He says, Diontae doesn't know the plays or care about winning. This ain't Madden, and they ain't the first team to punt on him. So it reminded me of exactly what a smaller segment of Ravens fans were doing. That it was like, whatever, you got to work with them. You got to figure it out. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, you want to say that because obviously it makes sense on paper, which is why so many teams have taken a chance on him. As was pointed out by the score, he has now played for 1/8 of all NFL teams in the last 12 months, traded from the Steelers to to the Panthers, traded from the Panthers to the Ravens for a box of peanuts, and then let go and then picked up, both teams needing a wide receiver. And so, no, if what they don't understand is, while yes, he looks good on paper, it's another level, Bobby, when your team is celebrating for a win that a lot of people were saying you couldn't win in the playoffs with your second-year quarterback, and you've been hit hard at wide receiver, and Diontae was not the reason why they won. And then he has the audacity to be in that environment and take away from his team's happiness by making it about him. And again, I said the same thing when he was here in Baltimore, because could he have had a point that he should have gotten the ball more than he did because he had more time in Baltimore? Could he have had a point? Sure. But how you make your points makes all the difference in the world. And now let's take Diontae out of it. You take Diontae out of it because I don't want to bury him. But a person that can't channel frustration in the right way isn't mature yet. That's what toddlers do. Toddlers pout. Toddlers are the ones that put up a fit, and they do it at their own detriment. So a lot of people think that they're tough when they're displaying their emotions all the time, and you can't tell me how to think and you can't tell me how to feel. And that's true. Nobody's going to tell Diontae how to think. Nobody's going to tell Diontae how to feel. And maybe he's has a point. But when your feelings get in the way of your own success, then that's a problem. You have not matured as a human being to make a maybe legitimate point in a way that actually works for you. The way he's doing it isn't working for him. It's not working. And you have 4 teams telling him that. It's not working for us. It's not working for you in a contract year. So you can stick your chest out and you can be like, nobody can tell me how to feel. Okay, cool. But then pretty soon you might be left alone with you expressing your feelings exactly how you want to express them in the moment.
Tell you what, if this doesn't give the folks that were kind of pointing the finger at Harbaugh and the coaching staff newfound appreciation for how he handled this and how he protected Diontae Johnson, I don't know what will. He did not dress him down in a public setting. They handled it internally, obviously kept everything tight-lipped and close to the vest, ended up punishing him with a 1-game suspension, which followed by a dismissal, mutual dismissal of from team activities the following week. And now, again, Diontae looking for his 5th team in under a calendar year. We'll see how his offseason shapes up because, boy, oh boy, some team is going to be taking a significant risk by bringing him in if they choose to do so.